Let's see here. Santiago, why so early? Because I'm probably getting on again later, so this is going to be a shorter one, maybe less than an hour. I had time, you know? So we'll get on for a little bit here. Well, I'll probably be on later tonight. Well, I should get on later tonight. I kind of want to have a fun night tonight. I don't know. We'll see. Joe, what's going on? Raren. Hey, Gracie. What is up, Gracie? Let me do something real quick. Hold up here. Guys, the Euro and the GFS model want to just throw 5 winter storms across the East in like a 2-week period. Just look at the screen. And I'm like, listen, look at this. It just doesn't stop. And there's model consensus on it too. Woo, okay, it was getting a little boring here, but now not so much. Now not so much. February is going to be crazy. We're going to be having tornado watches up in Ohio, up in Michigan, if we see these types of looks. Yeah, I was like 15 miles north of the plane crash in Philly, so kind of close. Kind of close. What's going on, everyone? Give me half a second. Give me half a second. All right. So you guys want to see something silly? Look what the Euro wants to do here over the next couple weeks. Take this with a grain of salt. What? You see all that up there? Oh, if you're on YouTube, it's over here. It's over here on YouTube. It's up there on TikTok. The Euro just wants to pull 1 storm, 2 storm, 3 storm, 4 storm, 5 storm. You guys in freaking Kansas and Nebraska and Iowa and Missouri and Illinois and Indiana who kept saying, where's our snow? Where's our snow? Where's our snow? You guys might get way more than you asked for. That's all I'm saying, okay? You might get way more than you asked for. Now, our GFS isn't going that crazy, but it's going pretty crazy with snow as well. I mean, the GFS is painting snow everywhere here as well, as you can see. I mean, the GFS and Euro just going nutty with the snow. Absolutely insane. Jeez, the GFS wants 2 feet where I live. Really crazy stuff here. So we're going to get into that. Why we're seeing this happen. And there's a lot of different reasons. This zonal flow that we have here, that's a little boring for a lot of the country, but active for the PNW Northern Plains. Well, we're expecting that to dip. Here it comes. As soon as that jet dips, we have our Arctic oscillation going negative, meaning we've had cold air building here. As soon as that dips, there's some serious clashing of warm and cold air that's going to want to happen. And that's going to want to kind of just send a train of snowstorms east. You can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Classic winter storm outbreak. Crazy polar plunge look. We'll see if it happens or not, but that's what the Euro and GFS kind of like. Euro's actually being more aggressive. GFS does see multiple winter storms setting up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, this is a crazy look, guys. Crazy look by both of these models. And the CFS, I mean, we can look at the CFS too. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5, 6. The CFS sees a bunch of storms happening. We'll quickly take a look. What's our most updated Canadian see? There's 1 storm, 2 potentially, 3. This would be pretty major. Not going out as far. It's going to be active. It's going to be an active February. We're still seeing BT dubs, guys. We're still seeing this huge AO drop mid-February. Polar plunge mid-February or into the second half of February with the PNA that wants to go positive. Again, what does this represent? What does this continue to represent? What you see at the end of this Euro run. Not guaranteed to happen, but this is what the outlook still holds. Big cold plunge, second half of February. The other thing, I just posted a video about this, and then I'll get the chat here in a second. The other thing that I am watching is there's been this kind of rumor about, our polar vortex is going to split in half. I don't know if it's going to. It did happen in 2018, and if it does happen in February or March, you can have cold air through April. Stuck in the south. If you get enough of this warm air, kind of like this, building up in the Arctic, you can get your polar vortex to split up into multiple sections. This would kind of be its own polar vortex. Same with here. Same with potentially down here. This is basically 3 polar vortexes spinning off on their own. This one right here is more of just a dipping jet stream. So again, now if that were to happen, this would be the groundhog. Would it be not see a shadow or see a shadow? If that were to happen, we would be stuck in winter a lot longer this year, and it would be a late spring. I'm not sold on it yet. I'm not sold on a big polar jet split. The end of this Euro though does show something pretty crazy happening there, but I'm not quite sold on it yet. That's a lot of warm air, big high pressure building over the Arctic with this type of look. So maybe, but I'll watch it and tell you what's happening. That's what's gonna happen. Happy Saturday, everyone. Is it Saturday? Because I always get the day wrong. Hold up, let me check. Saturday. Nice. Thank you for the follows and subs, guys. Yeah, no, we're safe, Gracie. I think only one person. I think there was a bunch of people injured. I think only one person. I can't say it on TikTok, but I think we only had one loss of life on the ground, not the plane. Obviously, everyone. But I don't know what the heck's going on in the Mid-Atlantic with planes, but it's very sad. Yeah, it's sad. There was a pediatric patient who was coming back, who was recovering, who was coming back from like a life-saving surgery. It's like, how much more depressing could it get? It's terrible. Janelle Missy, I appreciate you guys. All right, let's get to some questions. Are you going to be here when the 18Z GFS renders in? Well, it's rendering in right now, and it's coming in pretty quickly. Already up to 54. Ooh, you can really see this trough wanting to dig here, tilt. So yeah, we'll let that run in. And we'll go over it. My son is screaming. I might go check on him in a second. 1 second. Hold up. Be sure what's going on. Daddy's streaming. All right, love you, buddy. He doesn't care. He doesn't care that I'm streaming. He's 2. You know what I mean? He's like, too bad. I'm going to scream. We'll be quiet in a second. He's with mama. Let's see here. Any severe weather coming for Ohio? Potentially a lot. Yes, that's what we're watching. First thing we're watching is this right here around the 5th through the 6th of February. So this upcoming Thursday and Friday, you can see snow, ice. You're going to have some instability in here, meaning high winds and hail are probable with some of these storms. Do we get a tornado touching down? We could see a couple. I don't think our setup looks favorable for a massive tornado outbreak, but could we see a couple tornadoes touch down with this? 100%. So we've got to be careful on that this upcoming Thursday and Friday through the Ohio Valley. Well, Brittany, I'm just getting on quick here, maybe less than an hour, because I'm going to probably be on again later. I was like, I don't know. I was like, maybe I'll do something tonight. And so I just want to make sure I get on right now in case I don't get on later. I'm still planning to get on later. All right, I'm taking one of these on stream here. Warheads. Let's see here. Britt, I appreciate you. Mom of 3. Oh, Trivia Live? Nice. Here we go. Will Philadelphia get snow this Wednesday? Probably not this Wednesday. Maybe some mixing and ice. Philly, and I've continued to say this, whatever mod over on YouTube did that, thank you. Thank you, Indiana. Decent amount of snow in Southeast PA? Okay. I've been saying this to you guys. And I'm like, listen, I did good with my January forecast. I did good with predicting snowfall back into the northern plains and PNW in the beginning of February. I'm the most nervous about we haven't seen our biggest snowstorm in the mid-Atlantic yet, and a big cool down late February in the east. But, as I said last night in my stream, look at our Euro. Huge, huge, huge polar plunge dive of cold air, second half of February. Look at our teleconnections. Positive PNA, negative AO. Everything that I can look at, all the best models support what I've been saying. Second half of February into March, cool down, snow. Probably a big snowstorm in the mid-Atlantic. Still looks good. I'm still nervous, though, because this, it's not, the GFS, there's not consensus. Luckily, the best model we have when it comes to cold air troughing and snow is the Euro, and the Euro agrees with me. But the other models, there's no really agreement between the models yet. It still looks more likely than not we see some big snow. Potentially, it looks more likely than not to me that this region hasn't seen their biggest snowstorm of the winter. Just being honest. I mean, our European's the best model. European ensemble's great. Teleconnections is a good thing to look at. They all like a setup for an elevated chance for a couple big snowstorms out here late in February and March. So, I'm not just being hopeful. I'm not saying it because that's where I live. I've been honest with you guys all winter about where I think this stuff's moving. I told you late in January, early February, I said this. There's a video of me January 6th on my TikTok. January 6th saying I think we're going to get hot out here the first week of February. Damn, was I right about that? So, and I didn't want the heat up. I love winter. I want to stay cold in the mid-Atlantic and snowy all winter. That was the setup we had. And this is the setup we're going to have second half of February right now. Will Philly get snow? That's what I was just talking about. Boise, Idaho. Look at all this snow over Idaho. Some of that's going to be low elevation. Probably best chance for low elevation snow is into this upcoming Friday, Saturday. In this upcoming weekend. God, this is sour. A lot of snow and ice coming to Cincinnati. Is this true? Yeah. Here's our ice forecast. Take this with a grain of salt. Ice is extremely hard to forecast. I just want to show you kind of what our pattern's doing. Big grain of salt here. Look at this ice the Euro wants projected. Why? We're going to have a dipping jet stream like this, and we're going to see along this boundary severe weather, ice, and then big snow probably up here to the north for a couple storms. And then it's going to shift south, and we're going to see that snow line shift south. You can see right here. When our jet stream finally dips, watch where the snow goes. Right to the south. See that? It's up top, it's up top, it's up top. Then we're going to see our jet stream start to dig. And then what it looks like it's going to do at the end of this run is really dig and want to bring that snow back down into here as well. So, yes, Ohio Valley. February looks to be snow, ice, severe weather. A lot of potential for multiple storms that could, affect you guys in the region. Ohio Valley is kind of a target for that mixing really kind of bad winter storms is February. Memphis, Tennessee. A lot of our snow wants to stay to the north of the southeast, but you can see here at the end of our run as well, the Euro bringing some snow back down along this line. So we'll watch it. I think the southeast is going to get at least another huge push of cold air that's going to give you the opportunity for snow. Any chance for snow in the Jersey Shore? Yep, that's what I was talking about, 100%. Second half of February going into March, that's when it looks like our cold weather setup's back for the Mid-Atlantic. Snowstorm setup back for the Mid-Atlantic. Looks positive. Yep, Mid-Atlantic. Second half of February into early March. You can kind of see what happens at the end of this Euro run. The GFS and Canadian kind of like this too, where you start to see these storms really starting to push in farther to the south towards the Mid-Atlantic. You can see here. That would be a big Jersey snowstorm. So that's... I don't want to take the future radar that seriously that far out, but I do agree that our jet stream will be sinking, allowing the snow that just wants to fall up here over the next couple weeks to fall farther south, which is going to help the Mid-Atlantic. Is Orlando going to get cold again? Yeah, probably second half of February, like I said. We have too much ridging in the next couple weeks out east. Ridging meaning we have a lot of warm air being pulled up. Really just acting as a barrier right here, keeping all that cold air to the north. So, or not in the next week or two. Second half of February, Orlando will probably get a good cool down. Good, I hate heat. Yeah, Michigan looks to get a ton of snow in February as well. Here. Just take a look at this. We'll compare our models. Euro, GFS, Euro, GFS, Euro, GFS, Euro, GFS. See the Euro wants to dig that snow a little bit farther south. Euro, GFS, Euro, and wants to drop a lot more snow. But these northern states, man. Mid-Atlantic's going to be close. Mid-Atlantic's going to be close. The Euro wants a cutoff here. The GFS wants that snow through the Mid-Atlantic, though, through the DMV. You can see our chances down here as well. But this is just through week 2 of February. We're really expecting to see a shift of colder air out east and maybe some more southern snow. 3rd, 4th week. We're not even looking there yet. You know what I mean? This is kind of just where these models want to paint snow over the next 2 weeks. Again, take it with a grain of salt. The end of these runs aren't going to be accurate. But, where they're putting it, the regions they're putting it in, probably somewhat accurate. The amounts, obviously, they can't even agree. They can't agree on that, obviously. It's too far. How much snow for... later, William. How much snow for Philly? Man, I've been talking about Philly in the... I keep answering the Mid-Atlantic. Look, my tongue's blue. I keep answering I keep getting Mid-Atlantic questions. Listen, I cannot tell you how much snow is going to fall in Philly. Why? Because there's no snow in the forecast for Philly. There is no snow in the forecast for Philly. There's snow in the outlook for Philly. There is snow in the outlook for Philly, meaning after 1 to 2 weeks, our pattern looks to set up good for Mid-Atlantic snow. But I can't tell you snow totals if it's not in the forecast. I can tell you that it looks like we're going to have some good snow through the Mid-Atlantic region second half of February, but I can't tell you totals because it's not in forecasting range. Mello and Megan, I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I mean, Kentucky's going to be tough to get snow. Northern Kentucky's probably going to see a little bit, but again, what I'm worried about Kentucky moving forward right here is the 5th and 6th, some potential severe weather this Thursday. This Wednesday, Thursday, and then the storm right behind it here, Saturday, Sunday. So really Wednesday through Sunday, we could see some severe weather, and then, oh my gosh, look right behind it. I mean, Kentucky's just going to be looking like, Kentucky's going to be seeing, I think this is likely to be mostly rain. We'll see if this last storm wants to dig down a little bit farther to the south, but Kentucky's going to be dealing with some heat and some severe weather. Keep the snow away from Michigan. Tired of it. With this setup, get ready for more. I'm telling you. How much snow for Minneapolis? Both models like a good amount of snow through Minneapolis. Here's our Euro. Our Euro does a little bit better with snow. This is our Euro. Through about 7-8 days, like a 1.5 feet in Minneapolis. That might be a little bullish. You can see how tight the snow line is. Our GFS is Huh. About the same. Potentially 1.5 feet. But forecasting range-wise, we're seeing more 4 to 5 inches. You know, what the storms past that, we'll have to see how they wobble. We need to get a little bit closer. I wouldn't expect much more lake effect in Buffalo, New York. Your lake's pretty frozen, isn't it? Once those lakes freeze over, lake effect kind of goes away. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone from Buffalo, where's Julie? But I think lake effect might be shut off for most of you. Chicago looks to be mid-February, right in the target for a good amount of snow. When we get this jet stream dipping south, you can see our first couple storms want to potentially pull ice and maybe even thunderstorms into Chicago. And as that jet stream right along this time frame dips, 9th and 10th, you'll see that snow line move to the south, and then suddenly Chicago may see themselves in the middle of a extremely big snowstorm. We'll see. Again, this is a little bit too far out to believe the radar, but again, we are expecting that jet stream to dip around that time frame. Everyone, as we were getting into the end of January, was like, oh no, it's going to warm up for 2 weeks. Our winter's over. You guys forget. We can get big snowstorms through February and March. Laddie, what's going on? Florida could get 80s temps next week near Miami and Tampa. Yeah, I know. Well, we have another Florida winter storm. You need that to happen in January or extremely early in February, so it's very unlikely, Eden, unfortunately. Yeah, very hard. You need to be in your coldest month or coldest few weeks of the year to have a chance and have the timing of a polar jet slip or slow at that exact time frame to get that freezing air into Florida. It was very rare what happened. Obviously, I mean, that's why it was record-breaking, because it's not normal. You got about a one in a 5,000 chance of that happening every winter. 1 in a 10,000 chance of that happening each winter. How much snow for Northeast Iowa coming up? You know what? There's not really snow in the forecast for Northeast Iowa. Meaning within 196 to 120 hours, we see some ice, maybe light snow. So I can't tell you. I can tell you that region in our outlook is expected to see some good snowfall move through as we push into the second week of February. What's the closest state from Florida that still has snow? That still has snow like on the ground? I don't know. No, I'm in Philly and we still have I'm north of Philly. We still have a tiny bit of snow on the ground. Most of it, I mean, where I live, north of Philly, we've had snow on the ground for like 3 weeks for like 3 to 4 weeks in January. Not a ton, but we just had a couple different storms move through. Albuquerque. What is going down there in the Southwest? I haven't been paying attention to the Southwest as much as I should. Well, that's why, because it's dry and hot. Every time I look down there, I'm like, that's why. Okay. Here's our temperature outlook from the 7th of February to the 11th. Pretty cold. I mean, you can see where this is when our jet stream wants to dip. Again, this is why we're worried about severe weather and ice through this region, where you get that clashing of cold air and warm air. I'm telling you, Ohio Valley, get ready. And you can see it here. Our jet really wanting to plunge. This is going to shift our severe weather and ice down here, and this is going to give us an opportunity for some more snow in southern Midwest and the northern Mid-Atlantic in New England. Precipitation-wise, Southwest, dry, Florida, dry. And then as we get into that 9th to the 15th time frame, second week of February, we're seeing above-average precipitation pretty much everywhere but Florida. And you can see Florida, too. I mean, from the 7th to the 11th, look at you guys staying all dry. Wow. Let me see if how updated our new GFS is. God, it's loading slower than it should be. Here we go. Okay. The latest GFS does still put a significant amount of ice through portions of the Ohio Valley and the DMV and potentially Philly and Jersey. So that's something we got to watch. Let it keep loading. How's Mass doing? I'm tired of snow over here. Well, you guys looked like you're going to get a decent amount of snow in February. Probably pushing towards the second half of February. You could see a lot of snowstorms that want to move up through New England, including coastal New England. Your winter is not done. So nothing. Thanks, man. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the subs, guys. I appreciate you. Iowa's going to get some snow. It's like almost impossible with this pattern for you guys not to get some accumulation moving forward here. It's just so active. We're so active moving forward in February. We're gonna stay a little bit hot down here, but we're gonna see snowstorm after snowstorm after snowstorm up here, and then once our jet dips, we'll see that start to move south. It's a very, very, very active pattern. I'm really concerned with the ice and severe weather more than anything that we could see out here through this region. The ice and severe weather through here, and you can see that maybe even farther to the north with that ice. Any more snow in North Carolina? It's going to be 76 next week. I'll trade you for some snow. No time soon. No snow anytime soon in North Carolina, unless you're talking about in the mountains, potentially. But, again, most models you can see right here, right there. See the map? Most models are expecting a positive PNA moving into week 3, week 4 of February. Positive PNA means cold weather back down to the southeast, including the Carolinas. Very wintry, cold weather. So you're going to have to wait a little bit, though, with the setup. Is it me or does a European model seem to always be more accurate than the GFS? Well, yeah, the European model does way better in winter. It does way better at mid-latitudes. It does better with cold air troughing and snow predictions. So, like up here, the GFS is better when it's far south because the GFS does well in the subtropics and in the tropics, but this is the European stomping grounds. Especially over winter, it understands whatever algorithm it's using is way better with data input. What are our temperatures looking like here? Give me a second. Look at these Monday temperature anomalies. 33 degrees above average into Oklahoma and Texas. Look at the Ohio Valley, almost 30 degrees above average. Ooh, you guys are baking. Wow. And you can see this pushing up there into the Ohio Valley again. But again, a lot of this stuff is going to be smushed out as that AO continues to drop. Look at the end of our Euro. Don't take this too seriously, but obviously we've been talking about this signal for a while. This would be, you guys over here would go from being, 30 degrees above average to 40 degrees below our average within a week. That would confuse a lot of people. That would make a lot of people sick. But that's why I was telling people in January that we're going to warm up in February, but don't think your winter's over because I do think we're going to see that dip again. I need some more cold days in North Florida. Anything coming our way? That's when it would come your way, potentially. Potentially. Give me 1 second, guys. 1 second. Look at the climate reanalyzer. I haven't been on there in a while. Here we go. Yep, we're pretty hot. We are. Oh, you guys can't see it. Here you go. You see this right here? We are above. I mean, it's going to continue to happen. We're in a warming trend. We are exiting an ice age. Our planet is warming, guys. This looks to be wanting to get back to norms, but we are hot. We are running above average like we have been for over a year. Not a staggering amount, but we are above average. We'll see. You know, this looks like we'll probably dip down from last year, though. Or from our record. Let me see something on here. What are our sea surface temperatures? Hey, look at that. A little bit cooler. Let's see here. Any snow in East Jersey anytime soon? Not anytime soon, but we are expecting more as we push into the second and third week of February, based on our outlook. Northeast Ohio. You guys could get in on some of this snow. Again, we're watching severe weather and ice for you moving forward in the short term. In the long term, obviously, we'll see if the Euro's correct about this. The GFS has somewhat of a look like this, but, you know, you're not going to, we're not, if you guys want snow and you're not way up here, if you guys are looking for snow and you're not way up there in the next week and a half, don't be expecting it. Let's just say that. or in the mountains, obviously. But when this jet dips a little bit farther to the south, that's when we're seeing our snowstorms reemerge in the potential mid-Atlantic. You can see it here, Midwest and Central Plains. What is causing record-breaking temperatures last year and this year instead of climate change? Sorry, guys. Climate change can have something to do with it. But the thing is, you can't put everything every time we break a record heat on climate change, because if humans didn't exist, if humans didn't exist, the Earth would be warming right now. The whole climate change argument is how much are we speeding up the warming of the Earth? Because, you know, the Earth has been hotter than it is now before, right? The Earth was hotter than it is right now, you know, thousands of years ago before humans existed. It was way hotter. There's been lava on the planet. The Earth goes into ice age. We've had, 7 major ice ages? We go into ice ages. The globe freezes over. We come out of an ice age. It's called an interglacial period. Our polar ice caps melt. This is over tens of thousands of years. Polar ice caps melt. Oceans rise. Oceans cool. We start to freeze again. We get colder. We go into another ice age. We're in an interglacial period right now. We're in a warming period right now. So whether humans were on planet Earth or not, our Earth would be in a warming cycle, meaning if we were to see global temperatures over the next 100, 200 years start to decrease, that would actually be a warning sign. That would be something's not right with our climate, with our atmosphere, because the planet Earth is expected to be warming. The question with climate change, global warming, all this type of stuff is how much are humans speeding up the natural warming process that should be occurring? And there's an argument that we're speeding it up a ton, and there's an argument that we're speeding it up, but not that much. I think you can't make the argument that we're not speeding it up a little bit, because, you know, you can't just throw a bunch of stuff up into the atmosphere and think nothing's going to happen. But, you know, I'm not like someone who's like a freak out every time, you know, we set some sort of like, listen, in the last 200 years, the global temperature has risen by 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm not like a climate change alarmist by any means. I think the more you understand it, the more you can kind of be like, okay, calm. Like, we're literally supposed to be heating up. It's, you know, I don't want to get too into it because people get all angry and political about it. It's not going to affect us in our lifespan, I can tell you that. They've been saying every single decade since the 1940s that Miami was going to be underwater in 10 years. The oceans off the coast of Miami have risen by like a millimeter in the last 60 years. So I don't like to be you know, someone who panics about the climate, especially because it's just not going to lead to anything. But I do agree that we probably shouldn't be, you know, burning down our forests, throwing tons of garbage into our oceans and polluting our atmosphere. I think we can all agree on that. That's probably pretty dumb. We want to, you know, keep this earth beautiful and not be polluting it. So I think we can all agree on that. But yeah, our planet is supposed to be warming. So, and it will continue to warm, whether we're here or not, until our polar ice caps melt and we begin working our way towards another ice age. There's not much we can do about it. Humans give themselves way too much credit, okay? We are capable of a lot, but you could fit every human being on planet Earth in the city of Los Angeles shoulder to shoulder. Humans, we think way too much of ourselves. This planet is gigantic. And just like if you get a scratch on your leg and it starts to scab up and it heals itself naturally, the planet heals itself. I'm sure most of you have heard our ozone layer is actually healing right now. And maybe that has to do with some of the actions that we've taken, but our ozone is healing itself right now. It's actually repairing itself over the poles. It's great news, you know? But the ozone, there's been holes in the ozone, and the ozone has healed itself for thousands of years. And we're, so. Anyways, enough of that. Any big amount of snow for Boston? Oh, yeah. I think Boston will see some decent snow in mid-February and pushing into maybe the third week of February. We could see that. We could see that on multiple models. We could see that consensus on the GFS and on the European. Here's our latest GFS. Oh, okay. Our latest GFS does actually. Yep, that would be a okay snow into Boston. This is our latest update. So, how much on our latest run of the GFS does that put into Boston? 4 or 5 inches. That would be around, Thursday, Friday. I'd expect some bigger snowstorms than that, though, moving into mid-February. Again, we're going to see our snowstorms track north, and then we're going to start to see them slowly start to track like this. And these ones that track north and east are going to be bigger because you're going to see some tilting troughs and some more significant warm cold air interaction. We're going to have deepening low pressures once that jet stream dips a little farther south, and that's why I'm thinking this region here in February could see some big snow totals. Danielle, I appreciate that. Why was 2024 so big of a margin? It wasn't that big of a margin. In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that big of a margin. It was the warmest year on record. The global, let's see here. You have to remember, in the 2010s too, we had some years that were like extremely below average. The climate is very variable. It'll do some weird things. Records are constantly going to be broken. What was our global temperature on average increase during that period? 0.5, about 0.5 degree. Yeah, so we were riding about 0.5 to 0.6 degree Fahrenheit or Celsius above average. So sometimes people look at this and think we were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 degrees above, about a half a degree, running about a half a degree above average. I don't think it's anything to panic about, especially when our Earth is naturally in a warming trend. But it is important to obviously take some actions to try to slow the trend. What's going on, Julie? How's the Gulf Coast, Florida, St. Pete? Oh, Julie, look at this. Look in this upcoming weekend. Here's our latest American. You guys, dry and hot, Julie. Dry and hot. I was just showing this. I know you're heading down there. Look at our precip moving forward. Look at Florida. Below average. That would be the 7th through the 11th. Below average. That would be the 9th through the 15th. You are going to be dry and hot in Florida. So pretty much the exact opposite of Buffalo, Julie. Where you've been cold and wet, you're going to be dry and hot in Florida. It's probably what you're looking for. I heard some people talking about a decrease in aerosols. There's all sorts of things. Methane's way worse than CO2 for the atmosphere, by the way. I think it's like 1 unit of methane is as bad as like 10,000 units of CO2. Everyone's always freaking out about CO2. No one ever wants to talk about methane. Methane is horrible. That's a whole nother story. I'm not going to get into it. Big snow in Wisconsin tonight and tomorrow night. You got... I wouldn't call that a big snow. This one behind it, yeah, maybe a little bit more there. We can look at our snow totals. We'll look at it on our latest GFS. Since we've got... it's an 18Z, though. This isn't updated data. This is just an updated, This is basically updated by our satellites and radar. So, I mean, it does like central to northern Wisconsin have a pretty good blanket of snow. I mean, this is really north of Milwaukee and Madison, though. That'd be like 4 to 8 inches up there. Oh, no, you're good, Eden. Super Bowl weather in New Orleans. When is that? Next weekend? Yeah, that's next weekend. Oh, yeah, you know what? We should look at that. We should look at that. It's looking much better than we originally thought it was going to look. Originally, we were thinking that the Super Bowl, we could have some sort of severe weather outbreak down there, but that kind of fell through, which is good. It's looking like it's going to be hot and dry down there for the Super Bowl. So let's hope this look holds, which I think it probably will. It's gonna be well above average though. I mean, we could take a look at what our Euro thinks our temperatures are gonna be down there Super Bowl weekend. Going into Friday. 60s, 70s. Yeah. It's gonna be warm. I mean, lows in the 60s. And that's pretty cold for February, I think. Yeah, you should do it, Eden. Doesn't take much. What is the weather like for Fort Pierce, Florida on Friday to Sunday? Again, you guys are expected to remain pretty dry down there in Florida. You could see some scatter. I mean, you're in the subtropics. You could see some scattered showers every day. You know how it is. I grew up in Florida for 22 years. We used to always say it rains every single day at 3 or 4 p.m. But overall, I mean, the Climate Prediction Center is expecting Florida to actually remain drier than average over the next 2 weeks and warmer than average. So warm and dry is your trend down there in Florida. Not seeing any big, massive low pressure systems or any severe weather outbreaks really in the short term. Kentucky snow, you're not going to see any snow likely in the short term. As we transition into the second to third week of February, that's when we could see our jet stream dip and bring a little bit or a lot of bit of snow into Kentucky. We'll have to see how far the jet dips. Right now, it's really wanting to hold the snow north into Indiana, Ohio, PA, but it could dip far enough south to bring that snow into, you can see it right there. Could dip far enough south to bring that snow into Kentucky. It very likely could. Yeah, Virginia as well. Again, we see what happens at the end of this Euro run. I would like to see we start to get what's called a positive PNA at the end of this run, where you get a ridge that wants to build up out west. What that does is it pushes all this cold air down into the east, basically, in a summarized way of saying it. And with that, that's what we're going to need again to get. You can see what happens at the end of this Euro too. Snowstorms riding kind of up the coast again, like we were seeing more in January. So we'll see. The European likes a trend to get snow back into Virginia, into the DMV, into the Mid-Atlantic in the second half of February, but it's still in the outlook phase right now. You know, we're not in that forecasting range yet, but it's a positive outlook for you guys. Yeah, we've been looking at the GFS. It's loading a little slow. Let's see how it's about halfway loaded now. Wow. The GFS wants huge snow out here for. This would be huge snow out here. Let me see this. This is updated. This is pretty far out, though. I mean, the GFS wants... I mean, this would potentially be... Yeah, I mean, big snow from Philly, from Jersey up. You guys can see what the GFS wants to do here in as we get into the second week of February. From Philly, Jersey, into the north of New York City, Boston. That's big snow. I would need to see the Euro agree with this. The Euro likes this look too, but the Euro still likes this snow a little bit farther to the north. So we'll see what type of agreement we get, but I'm not going to fully buy that quite yet from the GFS, especially because it's not our best snow or cold air trophic model. Will it be cold again in North Texas? Looks like it will. Getting into the second or third week of February, like I said, we've been talking about this dip. You can see the dip in the jet stream right here as we get around the 10th, 11th. Here it comes. This would be very cold in North Texas for a few days. Out of forecasting range, though. I fly out Friday. What's the weather looking like for Buffalo Friday evening? Good question. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. It's going to be cold and dry. We expect it to be cold and dry, Julie. Let's see if the weather app agrees. Even though you know I hate my weather apps. Let's see. Buffalo. Cold and dry. All right, it knows what it's doing. No problem, Julie. It's right. Although, I will say this. That's 120 to 140 hours out. There's enough time for that to change. The only thing that I think would change that forecast would be, this isn't going to slow down that much, so I don't think you have to worry about that. This system right here, sometimes we do see these things speed up by about 24 hours. So if this thing really kicked it into gear, it could be in your region. But you'd have to see a big speed up from this system or a big slowdown from the system ahead of it, which usually they don't make that big of a change in this time frame. So that's why I'm not too concerned. I think your evening time Friday should be good. I will, Julie. Note it. I appreciate the sub, Eden. Thank you. I love hearing that. 70 snowstorm. How likely is it to happen for Chicago? Oh, we're talking about here? Well, anything that's outside of, this time frame, anything that's in here, I would say under a 10% chance, just because this is an outlook range and this is your forecasting range. So I will say this. I do think the jet stream pattern setting up for a big snowstorm through Chicago is positive. I do think we will see kind of a dip like this. We've been talking about it for a while. But yeah, it's hard for me to believe. This radar is crazy. This is severe weather, crazy ice, crazy. This is if this were to happen, this is a blizzard in Chicago. This is 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts, maybe more, with 2-inch per hour snowfall. This would be crazy. This would be like 2 feet of snow with wind. So that too makes me a little bit, those are rare. Our jet stream does look to lock into the right position for this. So I do think this type of winter storm is going to come through this region, but it could be farther south. It could be farther north. If anything, I'd favor farther north because we know how these models like to trend south in the long term. So it's a serious signal. It's a serious signal. Is our GFS loaded out that far yet to see our latest GFS? Wow, look at that. Not quite. If we go to our 12Z 270 on our GFS, you can see our GFS does see that snowstorm, but look, it has it farther to the south, and it's not as amplified. Well, it kind of has this one right behind it as well. Yeah, the GFS and Euro both are super bullish on heavy snowstorms and severe weather through this region and this region. Mid to late second week of February. Crazy looks on here. Some of the stuff is like hard to believe that these models are showing, like 4 or 5 winter storms in the east back to back. I don't think we're gonna get all of them. We'll get a few of them. Hi, what's the weather for South Carolina? The 8th to the 10th. Again, a little bit out of forecasting range, but based on our looks from the Euro and GFS, they do both have that storm to the north, meaning we could potentially see some severe weather in the south around that time frame. So I would say we're just going to be watching out for some thunderstorms down here. I don't see this being a severe weather outbreak for South Carolina or the southeast. Right now, it looks like most of that instability is going to be to the north through the Ohio Valley, but something to watch. Warm, some potential thunderstorms, not severe though. That's the best outlook we have during that time frame in South Carolina. Out of forecasting range. It could change. That's the best outlook we have on it right now. Weather app says 2 inches into central north. And what? Why? What? You kidding me? I'm near central New Jersey. Let me see what my weather app says in my area. Yeah, it says it for me too, and I just think it's dumb. It says 2 inches for me too. This looks to be like a lot of mixing and ice. It's probably looking at our GFS. What does our GFS think for Wednesday? See, our GFS does have that as snow. Our GFS does have that as snow. What's our icon see? Ice. It shows a chance for a clipper through there, but then ice. What's our Canadian see? So what's happening is our weather app is taking the GFS model and saying that's the right model, even though the icon, Canadian, and Euro all disagree. Your weather app's taking the American model and running with it. Not a good idea. Not a good idea with winter weather. Could it be right? Yes. Like I always say, a broken clock's right twice a day, but probably better chance we don't see a couple inches of snow through central New Jersey Wednesday. Not impossible, but I think the odds are against us. Can you show the instability for the Ohio Valley? Here's us getting into, here's our Euro. Here's our first kind of system we're looking at here. I mean, there's nothing, I don't see anything too significant with this. I think we're going to see some thunderstorms. You got a decent amount of forecasted Cape there, around 1,500. So that's not bad through portions of southern Illinois, southern Indiana, this region right here. We could have some Cape, some significant, not significant, some okay Cape. Anything under 2,000 isn't too bad, but I think we're gonna see some potential windstorms with this. Could see a derecho pop up, some significant hail. I think it's gonna be hard to get some tornadoes touching down with this type of system, but not impossible. Not impossible. Appreciate the follows and the subs, guys. How's Detroit looking this week? Through the weekday? Look, a little bit of snow maybe there. This is what we're worried about right here. Late Wednesday into Thursday. Our Euro likes big ice, potential severe weather in and around Detroit there. Probably going to be an ice mixing issue. GFS. Here's our latest GFS, same time frame. Keeps that ice to the south. Again, it's surprising to me that the Euro and GFS are in such disagreement within this time frame. Huge disagreement. I mean, that's a huge swing within 100 hours. From the GFS pulling ice down here to the Euro pulling it up here, that's a huge swing. When we're about to be what's in what we call forecasting time, which is 96 hours and under. So I'd hope that this corrects itself tomorrow and we really understand, because this happening to Detroit is a big deal. The GFS happening to Detroit, there'd be nothing. There'd be nothing to talk about on that Wednesday, Thursday event. What's the snow total for Western North Dakota? Here's our latest from the Euro. We'll push it forward about a week. Oh, that's not a week. You're seeing some totals, you know, between 8 inches to a foot out here, potentially. The snow's coming. You're going to have a good snow ratio, too. Ice at Chicago, 105. I mean, again, we have our GFS shows nothing for Chicago or Detroit in this time frame. Our Euro is a much better model in this time frame and at this latitude. So I would watch this more if you're in. I'd prepare for this more if you're in Chicago or Detroit and understand this is a serious possibility Wednesday and the Thursday. Hopefully our GFS, you know, hops on board with this with our 00Z and 12Z tomorrow, because we need that consensus. No more snow for North Carolina, I assume? No, I think you guys will get some more late February. 3rd or 4th week. It might just be in the mountains, but it might not. We have what looks to be transitioning of a decent amount of cold air and winter back into North Carolina. 3rd and 4th week of February still, based on our outlook. 30 inches. Wait, what did you see? Here we go. Listen, you want to see something crazy? Can you read that? That's 129 inches of snow in the Cascades. Almost 11 feet of snow. Or 12 feet of snow. And most of that falls within a 72-hour period. Atmospheric river. I don't know if I have any people in this chat in Northern California, but look at that atmospheric river out there. Pound in Northern California. And trailing all that snow up into portions of Oregon, Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. And then eventually over into the Northern Plains. Dakotas and Minnesota. Snow in Seattle. It does look like we're still going to have a chance for that low elevation snow into Seattle. You can see where our Euro likes that, and our GFS actually agrees on this. High elevation snow, and then right here, as we get into that 5th, 6th time frame, it wants to fill in potentially a little bit of snow into Seattle, because you're going to get some cold air troughing moving down here, bringing those below freezing temperatures down to the surface. So still looks like Portland and Seattle could see some low elevation snow potentially moving into this upcoming week. I know you guys, I don't know if you guys have had any this year. Boone, North Carolina. Again, I think we're going to need to wait a little bit here. Wait a week or two. Wait a week and a half to 2 weeks, and I think we're going to have a pattern that's going to put snow back into the Appalachia. I do. I'm moving to Texas now. DC ice outlook. No ice forecasted, which is good for you guys. No ice forecasted. There is an outlook for big ice in DC, but it's an outlook, so I wouldn't worry about it yet. This storm right here, oh my gosh! If the Euro is correct, look at this. This 1, 2, 3 shot would just be insane for the Ohio Valley, Mid Atlantic, and Northeast. Crazy, nutty. Portland, Oregon is looking. Wow, I mean, I just realized at the end of this run, at the end of the Euro run, too far out, take this with a huge grain of salt, but the end of this run, the Euro likes another atmospheric river setting up in Oregon and not in Northern California. So that would be huge rainfall and snow totals in and around Portland, depending on how cold it is, where that snow falls, high elevation or low elevation. But quantitative precipitation out there in Portland. Let's look at this. Over the next week, 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches, Northern Oregon. Nothing crazy. A lot of that's going to be snowfall at elevation. But again, we see a chance in here around Wednesday, Thursday for some of that snowfall to actually get low elevation. Wednesday or Thursday, low elevation, maybe into Portland and Seattle. Snow for Nebraska. Once again, you can see. Oh, actually, let me look at the latest. GFS real quick. Let's look at the latest GFS real quick. Still loading. GFS still likes this big snowstorm that the Euro sees as well, and likes our jet stream digging. Again, this would be potentially, if this, depending on the shift north or south, we're watching Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Iowa, you guys Central Plains, and then out east, obviously, for this. This would, if we were to see this, what I'm expecting to happen as this loads is this to tilt, and this would be a major blizzard through this region. So, still shows it. Latest GFS. This is an 18Z though, so careful how much you trust an 18Z. This is not fresh data. This is just an update based on time. Yeah, PNW is going to have no problem getting lots of precipitation over the next couple weeks and below average temperatures. It's going to be very wintry out there. Very wintry. Guys, I'm planning on getting on later. I can't 100% tell you I'm going to get on live later, but I'm planning on getting on live later. So I want to hop off for a little bit here. Spend some time with my kid. I appreciate you guys being in here. Appreciate anyone who subbed, followed, Gifted Azul, Yali. Oh my god, I wasn't even looking up there. I am delirious today. Oh my gosh, I missed so many. Lisa, Yali. Hayden, Azul, thank you guys. I appreciate you. But I'm planning on being back on here later tonight. Maybe even actually posting a new video. I want to see what's going on with some of these updated models, teleconnections, all the good stuff. So I appreciate you guys being in here, and hopefully I'll see you on a little bit later. If not, everyone have a great weekend. If I don't get on later, which I think I will, I'll be on tomorrow. Probably twice tomorrow, probably afternoon and evening time. So with more updates.